Okay, so in this video we're going to talk about throwing off the hump. So throwing off the hump is a technique that we use when we have a lot of small things we want to make, things that maybe we don't feel like just centering a bunch of tiny things of clay, or it's also very hard to center really small pieces of clay. So throwing off the hump gives us the ability to center a larger amount or part of a larger amount, and then also be a bit higher, because getting all the way down here with something really little is hard. But if you're higher up, it makes it a little easier. So throwing off the hump is a really good technique for small things, or for repeated forms that you get used to doing it. It's a very traditional method. This is actually a very small hump of clay compared to what is traditionally used. But since one of your projects is teapots, I'm going to demo to you throwing a spout, a lid, and a saucer off of the hump. So we're going to start with just talking about centering this. So when you have a larger amount of clay, maybe you have really big hands and you're used to doing this and you can center large amounts of clay. That's fine. But a lot of us don't, and we need to use some other techniques to make sure that this we can use this clay. And so when we throw off the hump, we don't necessarily have to center all of the clay. We really only need to center the top part of the clay that we're using. So I'm going to turn on my wheel and start this moving, and you can see it is not it's not centered really. So I'm actually just going to take a minute and turn it by hand and get it a little closer so I don't have to do quite as much. So I'm just going to start, kind of get it generally moving along. And since I don't need to worry about centering the whole lump, I can just kind of get the top moving, start to kind of center that out, push against it, and start to try to get that a bit more even, try to separate out some of that clay. So I'm just going to cone up and cone down the top of this, and I can kind of push that bottom clay down out of my way if I'm making contact with it. And now you can see that I've got a top part that is very close to centered, and a bottom part that's all wobbly, but the wobbly part doesn't matter because I'm not going to be using it. So that's how you start to center the hump to use it. So in the next video we'll start doing components.